Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to start right on line 4 this morning and say a very good morning to Ed. Hi, Ed.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you today?
Not bad. I have a nice Labor Day, and I have some time off, and I thought I'd give you a ring.
I'm glad that you... Now, see, I'm glad you're someone who could get a minute and take an opportunity to do exactly that. What's up?
You've been talking over the last couple of weeks about Muskrat Falls, of course.
Yes, sir, and I don't know where to turn with it.
And you've had your briefing from Nalcor, so you know some things. And
yep.
I've been following this along and talking to some other people who are familiar with it, and you know I've been writing about it online.
Right.
But I just wanted to very quickly touch base on a couple of things just to make sure that there was no confusion about them, because this is exactly what Nalcor will tell you if you ask them the right questions. How are we paying for it? It's right there in the report that was released a couple of weeks ago. You and I are going to pay for it. The 40% of the power that's going to be delivered to Newfoundland is going to pay for 100% of the cost.
Right.
Now, that means that we're going to carry it all. If we don't sell another nickel of it, that $6 billion is all ours.
Yes.
That $10 billion is all ours. If we sell any of it outside the province, though, except for the stuff that's going to Nova Scotia, you and I will still be paying 100% of it. So effectively what they have is they have power that's not going to cost the people in, oh, I don't know, take Maine, for example. Not going to cost them anything because you and I have already paid for it. In Mount Pearl, you paid 100%, so that power that goes down there is free. They're not going to make any money off that because it's so costly to ship the power down into the United States that they're basically not going to get much more than it's going to cost them to actually ship the power down. We know how costly it is because Nalcor is sending power from Churchill Falls down into New York right now today. They're losing money at it. Churchill Falls power is the cheapest power they have to produce because it's already paid off. Doesn't cost them anything except for the salaries and whatever. You're shipping that power to New York, they're losing money. You and I are paying for every single nickel of it, and we're going to subsidize the power that gets sold outside the province. That's not going to go to pay down our costs because it can't.
Well, that's always been one of the challenging questions, right, for them. And I've always said the biggest hurdle that they're going to have in trying to sell this to Newfoundlanders, and I think it's true, is to say I'm going to pay 14.3 cents at the wellhead, for the want of a term.
Right.
But the guy in Nova Scotia, he's going to buy that 14.3 cent a kilowatt hour power. He's going to buy it for 7.6 or 8.2 or whatever it might be at that time.
Well, in Nova Scotia, remember, they get a block of power that they get in exchange for building that line across. Even if you calculate, if you just take that $1.5 billion it's going to cost and you work that out over 35 years, it comes out to something like 3 cents a kilowatt hour, 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour. That's not really what it works out to be.
Right.
If they need power beyond that first block, they pay 9 cents. I think it is 9.5 cents. It's in the contract.
Right.
It escalates over the course of time. In year 35, they still won't be paying what you and I will pay for that thing up front. So Nova Scotia gets discount power for the whole 35 years, no matter how you slice it. They get discount power. They get a chunk of it effectively for free. And they pay discounts.
How do we not argue, though? How do we not argue or not listen to the argument that says, look, this power is really, for many years to come, superfluous to what our needs are going to be. Our needs will be met by building this thing, and the reason why we're paying 100% is because we're the people who need power.
Yeah.
So the excess, what's left over, let's get whatever we can. It's kind of like a yard sale, and we'll get whatever we can for it, and we're better to pick up 8 cents rather than spill the water over the dam.
Still costs you 14 cents to make. So it costs you 14 cents to make, and you only get 8 for it, you're losing 6 cents. Then you have to pay the cost of shipping it, which you don't incur otherwise. So if it takes another 14 cents to ship it down into Maine or New York or whatever, you got so you're getting 8 cents for your power. Costs you 28 cents to make it and ship it. That's the mathematical insanity of it. It's why every single person I've talked to ever connected to hydro at any level at all who's familiar with this project thinks it's completely ridiculous. Because every time this project has been looked at before, since the 1960s onward, the idea was very simple. We build Gull Island, which is 2,000 plus, ship that power out and make money off it on export, and then if we need any power on the island, we bring it back and use that. We actually use the foreigners to subsidize our power. We use the export power to subsidize the stuff we need. This power is based on you and I paying for it to ship export power subsidies to somewhere else.
It's been one of the more, and it is the most challenging piece, I think, of the argument, against, has been this cost this price differential.
Yep.
And then there's the argument for, though, is that this is the least cost option available. You debunk that as well?
Well, if you look at the joint panel review, you will see one thing right up front. Nalcor has not looked at all the options. They did not examine them. They did not study them. They did not even think about some of them. One of the ones that's more interesting is natural gas. And there were two studies done, one for NOIA, the Offshore Industries Association, and the other one done for the provincial government in early 2000, 2001, that looked at the potential use of gas from Hibernia, Hebron, Terra Nova to power a replacement generator for Holyrood, or converting Holyrood to natural gas. And they said basically it was feasible. It was technically feasible to pipe the gas in. It was technically feasible, and it was cost effective. One estimate that was put on it in 2001 was about $1 billion. $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nalcor's response to that is, well, the operators have no idea what to do with it. They can't come up with a use for the gas. Well, sort of true, but not the whole story. The reason the operators, ExxonMobil and the other companies offshore, haven't found a price for gas is two reasons. One, and the biggest one, is that the government doesn't have a royalty regime. They haven't told you, they haven't told them, they haven't told us what kind of take they want to get from the producing of the gas.
Mm-hmm.
So if they don't know what it's going to cost them to produce the gas, they're not interested in having a look at it. And Nalcor is in a unique spot here, because Nalcor has the ability, and the provincial government has the ability to fix that problem overnight.
Yeah, we got to end, but I understand, Ed, we don't have much gas.
We have upwards of, there's at least 1 trillion cubic feet of gas in.
Yeah. But I sat in a seminar session with some people involved in this in, of all places, Houston, Texas.
Right.
Where it was pointed out that to be able to do anything successfully with natural gas, be it off East Coast Canada or anywhere, you didn't have yourself 8 to 12, trillion cubic feet of gas. You really had a very small find, and you really didn't have anything that you could build an industry on.
We're not talking about building an industry. We're talking about powering a gas plant. We're talking about taking enough power to meet the needs of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. That seems to me to be an eminently straightforward idea. And if we have more gas than we need, and these studies showed that we had more gas currently found than we actually need, you can package it up or you can sell it somewhere else. We can store it. We can build a storage plant for it. So it's actually there. The option's there, but Nalcor hasn't looked at it. I think one of the reasons they haven't looked at it is because they've had this obsession. It's a politically driven obsession. It's not driven by need. Nalcor was told by the joint panel in January 2010 that they weren't cutting it. Mm-hmm. They had not proved that this was a need. So they've known for a while. People who've looked at this know that they can't. It's not justified on the basis that we need this to fix our problem locally, because we don't really need it. We already have so much surplus power because of all of the paper mills that have cut that we can add Long Harbor to the thing, and we're not even going to be back up to the consumption levels that we were at when there were 3 paper mills running in this province.
Ed Hollett, by the way, I don't mind you don't mind me introducing you fully, do you? Ed Hollett, of course, runs a blog. It is called the Sir Robert Bond Papers, and he discusses these kind of issues on a regular basis on his blog. If you haven't read it, I'm going to recommend that you do read it. Not everything he says will you agree with, I'm sure. Same for any of us who do that. And but Ed, I'm glad you were able to pick up the phone and weigh in on this issue today. Thanks for this.
Good talking to you, Randy.
Good to talk with you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. We delve into even more of that, and I got a feeling when we get Kevin Aylward on the program and others, we'll delve into what ostensibly is the other side of the whole Muskrat Falls issue.